This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Hello and welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley. I am joined as always by my co-host, Garth Over.
How we doing?
And Tyler Brockle.
Yo!
Also joining us this week, we have some special guests before we get into what we did this week. We have the crew from Valiant Dynamics. So I will let you three introduce yourself before we get into what we did this week.
Okay. Todd Olson. I'm the partner that handles business and sales for Valiant Dynamics.
I'm Charlie. I'm the industrial designer.
Trevor, engineering.
All right. So we have these guys on. Obviously, if you can't tell from the title, that we are going to be talking to Valiant Dynamics tonight. And we have somebody already saying hi. But that will be, we'll get into that in just a minute. I know that we have a couple guys who did something cool this week. So what have you guys been up to?
Tyler, go first, man.
Still on my precision coyote gun that I'm building. I got my Aero Precision M4E1 lower receiver in. Got pretty much most of the lower parts kit into it. Still got a Geisley G2S trigger on the way. So I'm excited to get that in here hopefully sometime next week. And by the end of next week, I hope to be shooting.
Garth, you doing anything neat other than just farming?
Actually, yeah. Getting a lot of stuff Cerakoted. Now that we have a buddy who does that kind of thing, I am wasting more. No, I'm not wasting money. I'm spending way more money than I should be on Cerakote right now. I've got.
I think the word you're looking for is investing.
Yeah, we'll go with investing. Sure, we can do that. Yeah, we're doing some crazy colors for the competition guns, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about those. Going to have them do a Glock Tendo for me for my competition pistol. Looking forward to that. And
do you have the Duracell battery mags?
I haven't decided how I'm going to do the mags yet.
You're more of an Energizer guy?
I just don't know if I'm going to have Glock Tendo on those two or what I'm going to do. So it's,
all right,
match them up. But
I mean, I know where he lives. It's Rayovac.
Harbor Freight all the way.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that stuff. So yeah, investing in a lot of color for my guns coming up here. So
I have done nothing cool this week. I have done absolutely nothing neat. I don't even think I bought any ammo this week, which my wife will be happy about.
Oh, she will be. Yeah.
Isn't the Army fun?
Yes, so much fun. So how about you guys, Charlie, Todd, and Trevor? Have you guys done anything interesting this week or anything fun?
I can tell you personally that I'm in the middle of a business build right now. So Valiant Dynamics has been the thing that we've been building here for the last few months as aggressively as we can. So that's been pretty exciting.
Well, that's good. Business builds are important and sometimes not as much fun as gun builds. But I mean, in the firearms industry, when you're building a business, you still get to spend time buying guns and gear, which is like one of the most fun things you can spend time buying.
Oh, yeah.
Throw enough morale patches on something, it becomes a tax write-off.
So I just wrapped up a build, Primary Arms. It's I'd say 90% Aero Precision parts. I got a Giesel 2-stage trigger on there and Odin Works barrel. Nothing too crazy, but I love it. So that's what matters.
You shoot it yet?
Yep, just a couple of times. So I put a couple mags through it, and
Okay,
yeah, everything's functioning. But
excellent.
Yep. Charlie, anything neat with you this week or
No
golf
build.
recently?
Just a new dog. So that's just keeping me up at night. So that's about it.
Well, that's fair. I mean, who
Yeah.
doesn't love a dog? I love all dogs more than most people.
He
So
does.
I'm not the yippy dog person. I don't. I can't do the little yippy ones, but big dogs, I can do big dogs.
well, some of those little ones don't really count as dogs.
Yeah, half cat.
Yeah, gremlin. Yeah.
I call them dog cats.
That was a cartoon in the 90s.
Cat dog.
Oh, that's how it went.
It was messed up, man. I can't imagine you had to be on something to watch that show.
You're still
Well-
seeing the therapist, is what you're saying, Garth?
It's some of those shows were weird, man.
Hey, before we get too far down the road, I saw April. So, hey, April, give a shout out to you. And I know that everybody wants the goods kind of right up in the beginning. So one of the things that we'd like to do is anybody listening to the podcast, anybody watching the podcast afterwards, is we got a discount code AR-15. We'll get you 15% off on our website for the EvolvR. And then we'll also make a donation of 10% of the sales to any charity or to the channel of your guys' choice.
Well, that sounds like an amazing deal. One, not only for the listeners, but also to be putting out something like that. And I know that, well, there are a lot of worthy charities to be had out there. Right now, we've had a lot of not interesting, of bad things happening, with as far as our rights are concerned. And one company has been kind of leading the charge on that, or not company, one organization, and that is the Firearms Policy Coalition. They have been paying a lot of the bills to fight these legal fights, to challenge the unconstitutional laws laws or demands, as they sometimes are, because the ATF cannot legislate. They can just, enforce laws. But there's one organization in particular has been fighting that legal battle, and that's Firearms Policy Coalition. So why don't we go ahead and send it to them?
Okay, great. So AR-15 for the discount code on the website, and then we'll get the information from you on the 10% to the charity. And then make sure you guys stick around. Anybody that's listening now, we'll have we're going to do a special giveaway at the end. So just hang around and listen to that.
This is where if I had a professional soundboard in front of me, I would play the dramatic dun dun dun. But I don't have that here, so
That's why we have bourbon.
while we get into that, so why don't we get started with who Valiant Dynamics is? I know that we'll get into the products and the EvolvR that you guys have. I know how I found it was like scrolling through Instagram or something like that. I spotted it and I saw the EvolvR stock and I went, oh, now that piques my interest. And we'll get into that more why later, because I saw it and I went, this is something new that I really see a lot of uses for. And then I went down my normal rabbit holes. But so what is Valiant Dynamics? Who is Valiant Dynamics, I should say?
I don't know, Charlie, you want to take that one?
Sure. Well, we're just a group of friends that originally just worked together at a previous vendor, I guess you call it.
Body armor industry. We're body armor manufacturer. We all work there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just immediately, we all just kind of had the same values and goals in life. So we immediately became really good friends, and eventually, down the road, we all kind of dispersed, but we came back together and created Valiant Dynamics just to kind of keep this thing going, and we all work together really well, and we complement each other's strengths and accomplish our goals that way. Honestly, it's just a good team.
Yeah, I'd say that's definitely one of the things that makes us kind of unique is that the diversity of the team, right? So Charlie heading up design, Trevor heading up engineering and production, and then me, and we were all in our roles that we were at the body armor industry, at the body armor manufacturing company. So business and sales is kind of what I did there. So we fit really well together.
Yep.
Yeah, excellent. Good spread of talent. That's always very important, especially when you're starting out right away.
Yeah.
Really
Yep.
good to see. And so how long ago was that when you first formed? Got the band together, I guess.
Well, yeah, Valiant Dynamics. We started that just over a year ago now, right?
Yeah. So 1 July we launched the company as a company, but we'd all been working together for probably about 6 months prior to that, maybe 8 months prior to that, while we were working on the design, making the prototype, and doing the T&E. Before we felt like we could come together as a company and launch a company, we had a good product on its way to getting into production.
Very cool.
I was working I can tell you, I was working in Pennsylvania, and Charlie reached out. He's like, "Hey man, I got something. Can I send you a drawing? Let me send you a prototype of this thing that I got." And got a little box in the mail and a little drawing with some few pen scratches on it and a couple of other things. And
I was gonna say barroom napkin or cat.
A little better than that, but yeah, it's about that level. Yeah.
So the conversation with something like this, Charlie called Todd and said, "Hey, I got this thing, and here's this thing I made." And then Todd goes, "You know who we should call is Trevor, so he can actually make it work."
Yeah, exactly. We said, "Where's Trevor at? You got to get Trevor."
I got the same spiel, but it was by the lakeside with a few beers. So,
So he'd worked on his salesmanship game.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Romance it a little.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Charlie, he doesn't realize he's sales, but he really is, right? Because he's the guy that sold us all and got us all to come together. So he's definitely one of the influencers in the group.
I know what my strength is. I stay in my lane, and that's why I brought these guys in.
Yeah. I gotta say, sales is the toughest, man. I mean, that's the person once it's once you get the product designed, you think, oh, we're good. We got the hard part out of the way. And then all of a sudden you got to start selling it and talking to people and everybody hanging up on you. Like, I get it. 100%.
Yeah.
I get it. That's the ongoing tough job.
Yeah.
So one of the neat things about us too is, the company itself is we're data driven. So we really like to look at what the data says. It's good to do, I feel, and I believe, but what does the data really say? So, we like to look at the data and do what the data tells us to do, because then it's a lot easier to make decisions. Right down to the three of us, part of the assembling the team, we all took personality profiles so we could see, how well we work together, where our friction points were, and because when you're working together like this, you agree a lot, but sometimes you disagree. So you need to talk through those things, and that was an instrumental piece, to get us all working together really well.
Very cool. And it's great to have a team where you can bounce ideas off of each other. That's a huge help. Well, this company sounds awesome. Do we want to dive into a little bit of this innovative product they got?
Yeah. So tell us about the EvolvR.
Well, the idea came from the body armor industry, right? Before all this started, I designed body armor from 2008 till about 2015. And throughout that whole time, going to trade shows, going to SHOT Show, meeting with customers and individuals, there was a consistent and constant request to add a feature or fix your vest to prevent the rifle from sliding off while you're shooting it, right? And go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say that is 100% something that I can speak to. Is
the standard issue Army body armor is atrocious for how
hot
thick
garbage
that strap is, right? And especially once you get that mill stock, that nylon 66, it's very slick. Even though the butt stock is like I don't know what the term would be, knurled. It's very rough. Man, that thing just
Yep.
slides all over the place, especially when you get down in the prone. And yeah,
Add water, add sand, add
Yep.
any other debris, and that thing ain't sticking. You know.
Yep.
Some vests do a better job, you know, than others. The newer designs, like the JPC and a lot of those slick vests, they're a lot, you know, they're better. But we noticed a problem is when the PE plates, the polyethylene plates came out on scene. They were about 1.5 inches thick. They were just chunky as all hell.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a major problem for a lot of our customers at the time, because the toe of the buttstock was having some significant collision. I tried to solve this problem through the body armor lens, and eventually it didn't work. When you're sewing that much materials, when you've got that many seams in place, when you're working with more durable, heavier, coated nylons, it's just not a viable solution.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's been several companies like Cry's Stock Lock on their Gen 1 chassis. A lot of people will try that rubber tube caught like in a sleeve on the outside of their strap, as well as other various buckle covers, because a lot of people have that quad release now, and now you got that massive chunky buckle in the shoulder pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And plastic on
Even
plastic just
even the
doesn't work.
Army's new IOTV has something similar that's got that.
Yeah.
The Gen 4 over there that has that.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people have tried it, and a lot of people come close. And I've even tried to do it at the old job, but ultimately just couldn't make it work. So I took the different approach and went from the gun to the body armor, as opposed to the body armor to the gun. And several really rough prototypes later, I actually kind of found some things that worked, a lot of things that didn't work. And eventually just kind of kept revising and revising and revising, and got to the point where it was, not only was it really functional, it kind of got kind of a neat form to it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely, the industrial
Oh yeah, there we go.
is very, very cool. And we actually got images of it up right now, and essentially, it doesn't have that traditional triangle look that a lot of stocks have. It's a little bit more compact in the Z-axis, so the up and down axis. And why don't you kind of talk a little bit about that? I'm assuming shortening that height and then widening it out, there was a certain advantage in that when it came to mounting it in your shoulder and against your body armor, right?
Yeah, exactly. To avoid colliding with the hard plate, we wanted to reduce the height of it. Well, when you reduce the height of the buttstock, you kind of reduce the overall surface contact.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, obviously we widened it out, and when we did that, we realized, okay, well now we can make it adjustable by having a symmetrical rotation feature on the butt pad itself.
Yep. So for those of our viewers who aren't able to see this on the video feed right now, it's a very, very interesting design. So instead of having like that traditional triangle look, think of it more as almost I don't want to say tube, but it's much more compact, and it's a little bit wider, and so you don't have that height digging down into the top of your plate when you're wearing a vest. And then what's even cooler about it is is it a rubber pad on the end, or what's your material made out of?
Yep, it's rubber. Yep.
Okay. So the rubber pad actually has a little bit of I would say a lip, and that lip is meant to hook onto the inside of your body armor, and that's what keeps it from kind of pulling off or moving off when you shoulder it. Is that a good description, Charlie?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yes.
Yep. And even further from that, it's got you can actually, the rubber end cap can actually be pulled out and rotated so that you can adjust its location based on, your shooting stance or your shooting style.
Yeah, 100%.
Or handed, so you are wrong-handed people. Like
You lefty freaks.
yeah,
Thanks.
it doesn't
Appreciate you
sl-
for thinking of me.
Yeah, but
I can't
So-
sit next to my wife at dinner. It's just too much of a battle.
when I first saw this, I noticed, I had to go in and look, and when I talk about me going down my weird rabbit holes, I had to look and see, because I saw it was shorter, and I was like, okay, well, this is wider, and who just flipped off all the people?
I don't know what it is about you guys. But I've never seen this much female engagement happening on the chat rooms. So
You're welcome.
Yeah. But before I got distracted, one of the ways.
Oh, that would be my wife. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Called her Lefty Freak. She forgets that she has the admin rates sometimes.
Yeah. But so back in the day, before braces became really popular for AR pistol builds, a common thing that builders would do is they would cut a tennis ball.
Yeah.
And then they would slide a tennis ball in, and depending upon how ingenuitive they were, they would either take said tennis ball and then fill it full of hot glue or something like that was molded. So they had just a ball to use as a buffer between the buffer tube and their clothing. And, that was what they used to use as not a stock. And I thought about that when I was looking at it, because it did increase the surface area to reduce, because as you said before, with the change in shape from going from that traditional where you brought it as a shorter, you also widened it to do that surface area to disperse that recoil across your person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've obviously talked a lot about this being for body armor, and then the fact that it rotates to hold onto straps and stuff like that. What if somebody's not wearing body armor?
Yeah, that's my question for this civilian guy over here who's not going to strap up with the body armor. I mean, as cool as it is, I have 3 kids. I hope to God I never have to wear any of them. So for the military police officer out there like myself, what are the functionalities of this just for the everyday use?
Well, you look like a deer hunter. You ever carry a backpack out in the field?
Well, you would be wrong, but thanks for the vote of confidence.
It's always in the truck.
It's always in the truck. Yeah.
So yeah, we've actually just had a customer say, they wanted to use it for hunting because they do carry a big burly backpack with big chunky shoulder straps. We found that works really well for that, as well as big, bulky, over outerwear clothing. Right? You get that. You can use the hook to actually hook on the inside of that fabric. If you're just out with a t-shirt, that butt pad can just rotate out of the way, and it doesn't dig into any of your shoulder pocket.
Yeah, we call that the 12 o'clock position. So you rotate it to the 12 o'clock position, so the spur catches on the top, and then it just kind of fits right in there in the pocket, and that spur catch will just be just right above.
So it's catching your collarbone, essentially.
Yeah, so all you had to say was it's a great functionality for spotlighting with a car on. There we go. I can see that.
So,
So one other thing, I know it might be an off-label use that I noticed just from looking at it, it could really also improve form for competition shooters moving around obstacles. Because, this is an audio podcast, everyone's kind of familiar with the 90s chicken wing, where you have your arm sticking way out in the side.
Yep.
So as you move, if you've ever shot around like a VTAC barricade or Vortex barricade, whatever they're calling them now, or even like a tank trap, you go to move the rifle, the first thing you do is you can it to the side and then pull it over your shoulder and then come back and move with it. And without that lip, it looks like something that you could just straight pop back and then come back in without ever having to radically change your position.
Yeah, the high compression. You can just keep your hands and your shoulder, everything, all your architecture the same. You just go straight back, like you said, and you can just rest it right on your shoulder or just back, And what's neat about it, the exterior shell, there's no ribs, there's no pockets, there's no weird features that snags on any of your gear or clothing, right? So you can just take it and just run it right down you without getting hung up.
A little more streamlined. I like it.
So it's interesting. One of the data points. So we had 130 T&E samples that we sent out. So in the beginning when we launched, so we opened up T&E samples and we sent out 130 to a wide range from law enforcement, active duty military, veterans, trainers, dealers, and just other enthusiasts. 74% said that they saw an improvement in their speed.
Oh, wow.
74%.
I could see that. I mean, it's more compact than, what you see as traditional stocks, especially the military issue ones. They got all sorts of little nooks and crannies and sling mounts and levers that you can catch stuff on. Now, of course, aftermarket stuff tends to kind of do away with that a little bit more, but this even more so, in my opinion, than what's currently on the market. So what do you guys have for sling mounts on this? You got QD points, or I think I see a few slots in there for slings. Oh, there she is, right on the bottom. Okay.
Yep. It's centrally located, so if you're doing transition work from side to side, it has 360-degree swivel, so it works for right and left-handed people.
And then is there, from looking at the side of it, traditional you can thread in on either side?
Exactly.
If you wanted to not use a QD.
Right. If you're the guy that hates that rattle noise, you can just run it right through each slot. Either or we recommend going through around both of it. That way you have a symmetrical mounting solution.
Yep. Also, I feel inclined to say, since Tyler had mentioned, the mil spec, and I saw you guys nodding along on the video, there's an ongoing inside joke for us with what mil spec is.
Nah.
Garth is already smiling.
Just tell your damn joke.
Anytime somebody says mil spec, I kind of have to bring this up, even though it was Tyler who said it.
Lowest bidder.
Well, it's not just lowest bidder. So the military runs on NSN, national stocking numbers. These NSNs are available, and there's literally a military grade for everything, because it's like, this is the lowest quality we will accept. Yep. But also they go cheapest bidder. Now, there is an NSN for beer.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and if you type it in, if you have an enterprising supply sergeant somewhere, it will come up, and I am told that it changed in the last 6 months. But yes, nope. my truck master is correct. It is Coors Light.
Coors Light.
And
wait a minute, is that what it changed to? I thought it was Busch.
No, it's Coors Light, and they just switched it to an Anheuser product.
Oh, okay.
That's funny.
Because we totally tried to look it up again recently.
Look it up. Shopping.
But that's just always one of our hit points anytime somebody brings up mil spec, is there's a lot of things that are mil spec to include beer.
So I'm assuming you have a fixed stock. I can see on your website, and then this goes on to a traditional buffer tube, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So we have a mil spec and commercial buffer tube variant.
Right on. Yeah. Head mods are not so good for radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that came out of the T&E. Because of the unique way it's built. So we've got the ability to do things very quickly to it. So we were in the beginning, we started with a universal fit, but what happened is that we found a lot of guys like to keep it locked in one spot, but some guys like to move it around during transitions. So we did wind up separating it, and now we make a mil spec version and a commercial buffer tube version. We only do the commercial buffer tube in black, though.
Well, that's fine, because Colt should have never done a commercial buffer tube anyway. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. And then
I
as far
agree.
as to answer the fixed stock question, so yes, we do have now what we call the EvolvR CS fixed, and you have the ability to fix it in whatever position that you want on the buffer tube, and then you remove the lever tool, and now for use it's locked in place so it doesn't move.
Sure. Yeah, I did watch a few YouTube reviews on it as well. People were saying that it's got the little, I don't know what you call it, trigger lever throw system on the bottom, so you can adjust it, but it's very well tucked up in there, so you're not catching it on anything, and it's still easy enough to do the adjustment. So overall, the feedback on it that I watched anyway was quite positive.
Yeah, early on in the development, and Charlie can speak to that too, really during the T&E, in the concept, in the design, the prototyping, it's, built as a safety feature. So you've got the locking tab, which you got to push down in order to actuate the lock pin so that you can put it on the buffer tube. And then after that, you've just got the second stage, so you can slide it back and forth and it won't come off. But it's meant to be hidden. So that was one of the things that the early T&E groups that we used, they felt very strongly that it should be like that versus what you see traditionally on the traditional stock with the lever. And some guys are putting rubber bands around it now to keep it locked or from catching on something.
Sure, right on.
Yep, and I see even on your fixed one, is that still a made to be on a like traditional 6-position carbine stock, not an A2 style?
Yep. Same exact EvolvR. So it's the same exact thing. It's just modified a little bit during the assembly process.
Yep. Well, I was gonna mention that because some people hear fixed stock and automatically think A2. And
oh yeah. So the definition of the fixed stock that we can find, across the board to make sure that anybody that needs a fixed stock based on different rules or regulations is that it cannot move during use.
Yes, the non-freedom loving places.
Yeah.
No, I do understand exactly what you guys are saying, but I was looking at it going, that still appears to be a multi-position buffer tube instead of the standard rifle length smooth. And that was, yep.
Yeah.
So you can still adjust your length of pull, but once you remove the tool, it's fixed in place.
Okay.
Yeah, so whether you're using spacers, you could put spacers in there to make it longer if you need it. And that was one of the things during some of the research that we found is that people wanted the ability to put it where they wanted it to be versus where it has to be.
Okay, I know that like having that locked in is good for especially those people in the not as free states. But like personally, I've always changed up or to keep my length of pull consistent, mainly for eye relief on optics, whether I'm wearing body armor or just like a chest rig that has just a strap instead of having that bulge. I would adjust my stock to fit whatever it was.
Right.
And that's just one of those where I will speak to that from my personal experiences, having played those games before. But because I am a somewhat large human, so a 13 to 14 inch length of pull is still small. But
so yeah, I mean, can you guys talk kind of about the price point a little bit? I mean, you got all this, it's a really radical looking, got a lot of thought put into it, got a lot of technology put into it. What's the price of it?
So it's $89.99 is our commercial launch price. We did run a very competitive process. Having it built and manufactured in the United States was extremely important, right? So we did run a very competitive process. We used the NAICS codes. My background is in government contracting too. So when you talk about, what is the government buying, mil spec, lowest prices, LPTA, lowest price technically acceptable versus a trade-off method. So we ran a competitive process, started with 25 companies that we sent for injection molders that we sent a small little RFP to see if they were interested. 4-pager. And then we signed NDAs with 10. And then after that, we sent them the full-on technical data package, or TDP, which was, we got a lot of great reviews from everybody on it. It was very, very good in terms of a request for quote. And then one of them dropped out. We got 9 proposals that we were able to review. And as luck would have it, we selected a company right here in Michigan who is also a veteran-owned company to do the injection molding process for us.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
So what is it made? Is it a Zytel or a nylon 66, or what's the material? If I can ask that.
Yeah, we like to call it a proprietary blend of
Okay.
nylon and fiberglass.
Black Rifle Coffee calls it.
Well, fair enough. There is one other thing that I should speak to, because as you look at that, again, we've already talked about it being shorter on the back, and with it being able to collapse. If you paired that with like a short pistol grip, like the ones offered from VZ Grips, because VZ Grips have a unique grip angle of 17 degrees and are made from a solid block of G10. G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when wet, covered in mud, blood, or sweat. It features a wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, and colors are also available to match your stock. They also have pistol grips for 1911s, Berettas, CZs, etc., with over 25 textures and 27 colors. The coupon code is good for 15% off all grips, and that is code AR-15 podcast. I figured I'd slide that in there, but they also do make a short grip. So for people who want an easily concealable rifle in stock, because if you have one of those like slid underneath the backseat of a pickup in a rifle carrier, the two things that it always gets caught on are either that stock or the grip. So I know that like Fab Defense makes a folding pistol grip as well that goes on them. That would be just a streamline, because it's not much lower than the actual bottom of the lower receiver from the pictures.
Very nice.
Also, that was a transition into an ad read and then back out.
Yeah, and actually, you're probably your smoothest one so far.
It was very smooth.
Bro.
But no, that is something I was going to mention, is if you were looking for something that would be that snag free, as you talked about, if you paired that with one of the other designs, where depending upon where you store it or how you transport it, because especially if you live in a what we will call a non-permissive environment, or if you were trying to get into a in and out of a non-permissive environment, the ability to conceal that would be great, especially like on a little SBR.
Oh man, this stock on an SBR would be fantastic. I can see the applications already. Really, I can. It'd be a sweet stock on this SBR.
I got the SBR picked out already, so.
What color
I
do you
believe you
want?
do.
What color do you want? We got a discount code for you.
But yeah, I
Perfect.
mean, price point. I was gonna say, I'm kind of looking at like the Magpul stuff, like the ALS and stuff like that. I mean, at $84.95 for those, and even $94.95. I mean, you're right there with everybody else, considering the amount of thought that went into this. So that's really cool. You think something like this would be well over into the $100 range, but that is a great price point for everything that you're getting.
Yeah, I have to agree with Tyler. I mean, especially with just the positions that you can get out of it, it's fantastic.
Yeah, we definitely did our homework. We did a lot of comparison, especially, and we were happy with the way everything came in for bid. On the price point, we asked that during the evaluation too. So 80% of them said that the price was fair and reasonable at $89.99.
And at a 50% discount, that's only almost $75. I mean,
yep.
Who says
Yeah,
no to
that's
that?
a solid deal there.
Especially with the functionality that it's got. Absolutely. That's how we felt about it.
Yep, it's the competition side or shooter part of me took over for a little bit thinking about it, and having shot off some of those odd positions where you're shooting direct off the top of the collarbone and moving things around, as you've already talked about, or as we've all already talked about, it really will distribute the load of that recoil a lot more than one would typically expect.
Yeah. Something else we've been able to absorb too is the shipping. So we got free shipping.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Yep.
So there we go. It's what is it? Around $76 and shipped to your door.
Yep.
Yep.
Gotta love that flat rate.
Fast as we can get it there in a reasonable, reasonable shipping. We won't overnight it, but we'll do priority shipping. It is a weight where we can do first class shipping. So we've got that ability too. And so we've got production units ready to go. You order, it ships. You don't have to wait for it to be built. The only thing that we have right now that is on a pre-order is we just got new colors. So we've got FDE now, and we've got a dark green, and those will be ready to ship on the 9th of May, I believe. I put that on the website today.
Yep.
What's the difference between your foliage? Oh, there it is. Foliage and dark green. Okay, very cool.
Yep. So looking at it, it's the dark green appears to be more of the OD.
Yep.
And then kind of a sniper gray, and the foliage I would kind of put in. Well, my lovely wife would be like, "Oh, that's ABU green," for the old Air Force color that they did all of their bags and everything in.
It's like a grayish sage, I would say, huh?
You can't ever go wrong with tactical black.
Yeah.
Yep. Or
I'm
stealth
sure
gray.
I'm sure Sherwin-Williams has a code for it.
Most likely, and it's probably in a color that I can't see. Because, I, like most men, can only see in 8-bit colors. So it's, green, red, blue. I don't know what chartreuse is.
Fuck, I don't even know how to say that. So you guys, you mentioned contracting a little bit earlier. You guys pursuing contracts or got any in the works right now?
Yep. So we're definitely looking at all avenues, all segments. So obviously strong background from the body armor industry in military, sales to the military through contracts or GSA or P cards, that kind of thing, and then federal law enforcement the same way. State and local law enforcement through whatever contract vehicle they have, whether it's the large buying contract, for example, like a NASPO or something like that, all the way down to commercial sales and YouTube channels,
Sure.
dealers and trainers. If a trainer wants to run it as a package and offer a training program with the EvolvR to teach everybody how to use it, so you're not always out there running in t-shirts, but you got some gear on. You can, add it as a thing so everybody gets a stock at the end of the training.
Very cool.
All right. And one other thing that I feel we have to mention. So we are the AR-15 podcast, obviously, and this was designed as an AR stock. But when you go to your website, the first picture you see of it is a shotgun. So this is made to not just fit on an AR, but it will fit on anything that has an AR style buffer tube.
Yep.
Correct.
Yes. Yep.
So like even those guys who run those commie, like, bastardized AK rifles
Ugh.
that put buffer tubes on them could in theory run this to have something good on their rifle.
Yes.
Correct.
So that's why we like to be social media friendly and all appropriate and say that it is a mil-spec extension. Right?
Diplomacy.
See, I can yell at the AK guys here. It's okay. It's kind of my job. But no, that was just one where when I pulled up, I went, "Oh, we should probably speak to that because there is, it's not just for an AR. You can also put it on anything that has that buffer tube."
Yeah.
So
Crossbow.
Yep.
We've seen it on crossbows.
Really?
Breaching shotguns. Yep.
oh
I put
man.
crossbow as the main picture, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie just blew my mind with the breaching shotgun because I'm just
Yeah, you said that, and I'm like, shit, that is a shotgun. I did not notice that off the start.
Yep. Oh, especially if you have ever handled, and this is one where I'm going to get an angry email because I'm going to mess up the name or like the model of this. The Army's pump action weird mag fed breaching shotgun is the most uncomfortable thing on the planet to shoot. It's got like a 10-inch barrel. And it's a pump, but it has just a vertical foregrip for a pump, and it feeds out of a mag. And then it has a standard M16 stock on the back, and it just rocks your world. It is terrible. There's nothing good about it, other than it's smaller and lighter than an M4. So if you have to carry a one or something around, it's handy for that because you just sling it, and it's like a small. It's kind of like when ladies carry that little small clutch purse instead of the big one.
Nice comparison.
Yeah.
Putting it on a shotgun was actually one of the first things we did with it, just to see, the limitations of it, right? Just find out where this thing works, how it works, why it works with a shotgun. So,
Yep.
yeah, it turned out
Well,
really well.
I was even going to ask about so showing that on a shotgun, because a 12 gauge obviously recoils far more than an AR, and so does you could even move that on to the a 308 or one of the pistol caliber carbines, which when I order one after we're done, it's probably going to go on my crazy little 9 SBR build that.
Another thing that just kind of hit me too. I'm looking at the first picture in the store for the stock, and because it is a little bit wider, and the way the top plane is designed, I mean, you obviously get a lot of cheek rest on the thing as well. Because I noticed with some of these smaller stocks, some of them are very, very narrow, right? Which good for weight reduction, but you're not really, it is kind of nice sometimes. I've had like a Magpul STR or CTR versus an STR, right? You get that little bit more on the cheek, and it actually kind of makes a difference, especially when you got, not so much with the AR platform, right? But, I've shot like AKs before, and by the end, I just feel like I got in a bar fight because my cheekbone's been just beat to shit. So that's a nice little ergonomic feature, I think, as well.
Yeah, we got good feedback on the cheek weld too, and from the evaluators. Several wrote comments specifically about the cheek weld and how comfortable it was for them. Go back to just a conversation earlier about competition and shooting. So about 2 weeks ago, I got a phone call during the day from a police officer who wanted to tell me that, because I put my business card in every box that goes out, and he wanted to tell me that he recently used it during his annual qual, and he scored the highest score that he ever scored, almost a perfect score. He was extremely excited about it. So
Well, it was obviously the stock.
yeah. 100%. 100%. He said it was his ability to create that stable position.
Well, that is amazing because I have often said that you can't buy a better golf game when you're shooting, because we are very much so based in the belief that training is incredibly important. You cannot buy your way out of training, no matter what.
Yep.
Now, after you have the fundamentals down, there are things you can buy to allow you to better utilize your tools and to make your training more efficient. And that is one of those things where we're not going to say it'll make you shoot better. We're just saying it might help a little.
Well, here's something interesting too from the T&E data. So we asked the T&E evaluators, have you personally had challenges shouldering the weapon while wearing tactical gear or body armor? So 55% said yes. So 45% said they basically didn't have an issue, right? But then we asked, did the EvolvR improve your ability to shoulder a weapon while wearing tactical gear and body armor? 85% said that it did.
Yeah. When all you've ever used, I guess, is the status quo, right? You don't know any different.
You don't know.
Until
Yeah,
something
you don't know what you don't know.
wrong and just blows your mind.
Yeah, it's well, yeah, of course it works. I can do it. There's no
It's a
problem
man
with this.
thing too, right?
Yeah, yeah, this is good. It's all I've ever had. Of course it's fine. They wouldn't give it to me if it was bad.
Lowest bidder.
Yeah,
So that's another interesting point too. Is so during the research, because you guys, we talked about the white paper a little bit that we put together, doing all the research in that data piece, and when you read what the Marine Corps says, for example, I'm prior service Marine Corps, so I spent 14 years in the Marine Corps, infantry, and then also as a scout sniper, and then the Army's publication, and both of the Marine Corps publication on marksmanship and the Army's publication. Their training circular, they talk about when you wear body armor or gear, you will have to relocate the buttstock of the weapon outside of the shoulder pocket, right? So it's right there in black and white in the reference publications and the training circulars.
Dooley, throw that screen share up, would you? That I just sent.
I was just pulling up the white paper myself.
No. Yeah, so like this is exactly what you're talking about. That's, I mean, that happens all the time, right? It slips right off, and you basically are using your pocket that's on the outside of your shoulder on your military uniform is essentially what's taken all the recoil of that weapon.
Your pocket and a little bit of muscle on the top of your arm.
And the can of chew that's in it.
Yeah, or your cell phone, depending upon which one you put that in. But no, I also saw when I was going through your testimonials. So Robert Butler from Kanaz, we had him on the show, and he's a friend of the show, and I've gone and taken classes from him. So.
Oh yeah, great! I was talking to him today, as a matter of fact.
Yep. No, Robert is really good people. So there are, major trainers that are backing this, which also tells you how good it is, because he is someone who is very knowledgeable and knows what he's talking about. So as Tyler flips through the white paper to read it again, and
I read it twice. Get off me.
Yeah, you didn't think you'd be talking to guys who read your white paper multiple times tonight, did you?
Now, it might not do anything for Charlie and Trevor, but for me, it means a lot.
Yeah, by the way, like I've read white papers before. This is probably one of the least driest ones I've ever actually seen. You even got graphics and color, and I'm surprised it doesn't pop up too. I mean, it was great.
We're trying to embed some music in there for you. That's dramatic tunes as you
make it all a MySpace page. Yeah.
Get to the end and have the Top Gun theme playing.
Yeah, talking about trainers. Definitely if you've seen any of the YouTube videos, MHF Enterprises Shooting Academy down in Denison, Illinois. Travis and Jared, those guys did a fantastic job, especially the demo they did with all of the military gear, where he simulated the drag of the person with the bucket, and he was showing the value of the spur catch while you got all that gear on. He did just a fantastic job as he T&E'd it through a bunch of different stages and all the different things that he did.
That, and so, my normal military job when I'm not doing what I'm doing currently is logistician. So we're in and out of vehicles a lot. And I can tell you, as someone who's ran gun truck crews and things of that nature, nope, we lost to Tyler. He'll be back.
Is he making a bourbon run?
Oh, it could be hard to say. Or his dog bumped the power switch.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, it's happened to me before. But the snag-free aspects of that and going through some of those the product is so well thought out is part of what I'm trying to get at. And it is it's rare that you get a new product that makes someone go, hey, that's really new and different. Because generally it's a different version of the same 3 stocks that we've seen for.
No, I can attest to that. As soon as Dilly saw you guys' product, he instantly shot me a message and goes, "You got to check these guys out. This is the next greatest thing we're going to get into." They wouldn't shut up for like a week straight. And I went, "Fine, I'll buy one. Just leave me alone. I'm on board. You've already sold me."
Well, thank you. That does mean a lot.
So we definitely started with a good concept, but we got to thank everybody who did the T&Es for us. So both before the formal program and just with our initial prototypes, I mean, we got just some amazing feedback from, all sorts of users. And it really helped kind of fine tune things and, get us to a product that, we can be really proud of. So.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about making a private investment like we did, that's close to what some people purchase a house for, and putting this thing into production and making that investment into the tooling, you want to not make a whole lot of mistakes, right? You don't want to get into the thing and realize, oh, we're only about 40% complete, but I think we did a really good job as a team. And we just had a couple of small engineering changes in the beginning that really didn't, weren't too bad compared to, catastrophic things that I've seen out in the business world. So, that was key before we went to launch.
So not to get too much into the engineering space or how you did it, I do think that one of the great things about now is we're definitely moving into the golden age of firearms for the ability to make innovative products. Because, the AR-15 was designed in 1956. Like, we're dealing with a almost 70-year-old rifle at this point. Like, designed for how it works, the operating system, and we've changed a couple things on it. But with the way technology has moved, like 3D printers, because if you're going to engineer something like that and you look at it, you can draw up something like that, or if you have an idea and an end or two, you could make a model to take to someone and be like, I think this would work.
Yep. And that was exactly our process. I mean, me and Trevor both had 3D printers. We'd come up with an idea or a revision, print it up the night, overnight, and the next day we're off and rolling.
Yeah. I know Trevor's got a couple things to add, but one of the things that, as the business guy on the outside watching these two guys work together, and then we met, right? Every Thursday, we had a standing meeting every Thursday. And I remember just sitting there watching it develop, from the input that was provided and watching the new iterations come across. And a couple times, I know, Trevor, you remember, we were sitting there and go, that's it right there. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So absolutely. 3D printers are amazing. And we definitely pushed it to the extreme with what you could do with one. But yeah, just the speed that we could prototype things. And I've got a machine shop in the pole barn that we're able to utilize when we couldn't use that technology. We need something a little bit more robust. And we definitely, like we said, we iterated the design. I think we're like revision 12 now before we even got to production. Right. And some of those were minor changes and some of those were like, this feature really needs to lock into place, right? Like something major has to change. And 2 weeks later, we've got prototypes made. We're, send them out to people to evaluate. And again, kind of back to the people who did the initial evaluations. It's like, hey, I love it, but this. And then a couple weeks later, it's like, well, how about this? When you can hand them something back saying, does this solve the issue?
So do you have that montage of prototype 1 to prototype 12?
Oh yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
You're gonna like it.
We're gonna have a museum someday. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll walk it.
The first 6 are fucking hilarious. Why do you ever think that?
You'll walk into SHOT Show and they'll have like what was it? A couple years ago they had the Magpul PMag wall where they had the very first PMag to what they are now, and it was like, wow, that was a pile of crap.
Same story.
No, and it's funny because Gar said that, literally my eyes lit up and I was like, oh man, that's cool. Like I have to see that. There's very few products that will do that to me, and one of them was the first time I saw PMags. I was looking at a guy and I was like, what are those? And then instantly, did they break? Can I touch it? You know, then it sounded weird, but
it's just shit like this that you're just like, fuck, why didn't I think of that? That's brilliant.
Yep. But well, guys, we have been on for about an hour, and we can't thank you enough for coming on and talking about this product with us.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it a little bit too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yep.
we got the special announcement that we want to make here at the end. So Charlie, I think behind you, right, you got the Cerakote versions.
We'll let's blow Charlie up here.
Yep.
Hang on, guys. Didn't expect to be doing this. Sorry.
Yeah, don't you hate being put on the
Stand down a
spot?
little.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah.
All right. So for so for anybody that makes a purchase between now and the end of May and uses the AR-15 discount code, we're going to do a random drawing and let you select one of these Cerakote versions of the EvolvR as a prize for being randomly selected in appreciation for the purchase.
That is awesome.
Those are pretty sweet. I'm not much for snow camo, but I'd put it on a gun just because.
These were painted by Blown Deadline Cerakoting.
Okay.
So they are done right and correct.
Yep.
And
Yep.
professional. So,
That Blowing Deadline's a big name in Cerakote, and or has been for years. I know they even did some of the Arrow receiver sets for the builder sets a couple years ago. One of the rather cool ones. And that snow camera's that snow camel's almost full stormtrooper, Tyler.
It pretty much
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Put that baby on a SBR. Oh yeah.
Sorry,
We're gonna-
it's in the cart. I like having my own business location now because the packages don't show up to the house anymore.
Yeah, you see, and but you know, like normally I could intercept packages at the door before my wife got them.
You know, you can send them here, right?
yeah, everything's a gift. Come on, man.
And we need a small moving van when we get home too. So.
It's just a dealer sample for the
It's
podcast.
just a sample.
Baby. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no, she knows better, and it's she one time comes by and she goes, "You got more ammo today?" And I go, "How do you know it's more?" Or how do you know? And she goes, "Well, I drove by and I saw a box on the step." Well, how do you know it's ammo? Because it's got the black and white ammo sticker, and it's gonna weigh like 100 pounds. All right, so you got it. But so where can people find you? Like on the interwebs, or maybe not drive up to the shop.
Yes, you can find us at www.valiantdynamicsnow.com. So we were just able to get that URL. Original was and still is www.valiant-dynamics.com. We're on Facebook now. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We put all the money into the product and to getting it launched out. So we're working the technical angle to do some videos. So we got some early stuff out there, but we're working to get more up. We got Tiffany Page on board now, so she's been out running around talking to folks about it. And then we just got Twitter, so we're going to be on Twitter here real soon.
Well, right
Elon will
on.
be proud.
God bless Elon Musk.
All the memes about that this week have been great.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to buy Coca-Cola and put Coke back in it. So now we found word of you. Garth, where can they find us?
Well, if they're not listening to us on the Facebook or YouTube, they can find us at the firearmsradio.net. And there you can find all our affiliate programs such as True Shot, My Medic, Flightline Fiber, Palmetto, or Faxon Firearms. You can also find us at AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com and AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram.
So that is where they can find us. You know, we also have one other good thing that people should go and find, and that
They
is
should.
Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. If you like morale patches, stickers, or just anything neat, they also make the best gun cleaning mats that also make the world's greatest mouse pads because they are exploded diagrams of AR-15s. They also make them for 1911s and even those damn commie AKs. But that is where to go to find that, and that is patriotpatch.co. So, is there any parting words anyone has for our listeners as we leave?
Hey, first of all, we can't thank you enough for the invite to come on the podcast. We really appreciate it. You know, it's kind of tough out there with the advertising policies that some of the social platforms have. You know, you get some comments. People just don't understand how difficult it is, right? They removed all the targeting. You can't do anything. It's very, very, very difficult. Just in a phone conversation with Facebook advertising, for example, the lady tells me that she's been on there and she's read our website and she understands what it is. But unfortunately, the reason we're stuck all the time is because we sell firearms. And I just said, well, I'll wait while you go to my website and buy a firearm then. So,
Yeah.
you know, so we really appreciate you bringing us on, and appreciate the listeners. And, you know, hey, whatever we got to do, reach out, let us know. And we're here to help and serve the best we can.
Well, sounds good. Anybody else, anything before we sign off?
I'm just happy trails until we meet again, guys. It was nice talking to you.
Go
Yep.
forth
And
and shoot shit.
And shoot shit.
yep. And well, one, Garth, I'm still not going to sing. But the other part of that is you folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed.
See everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.